خمسة أركان في الدين صوم وصلاة وزكاة حج والشهادتين شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله إقامة الصلاة إيتاء الزكاة وصوم رمضان وحج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله لا أعبد في الكون إلا الله ورسولي للبشر هدى بني الإسلام على خمسة أركان في الدين صوم وصلاة وزكاة حج والشهادتين وأكلم رب
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I bear witness that there is only one God, Allah, and I bear testimony that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger and the prophet of Allah. Viewers, you are welcome once again to your favorite program, Islam in Focus. Islam in Focus is a program that informs and teaches members of the public about the religion of Islam. At the last episode, we treated fasting in Islam, and today we want to continue those conditions that can exempt Muslims from fasting. To discuss this good concept of Islam, we have two of our Muslim scholars here. To my right is the chief imam of the University of Uyo Muslim community, Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Okeshina.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ramadan Kareem to
Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you very much. You are welcome. To my left is the Director, Media and International Relations of the Akwa Ibom State Islamic Council, Alhaji Ahmed Isa. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. You also are welcome yet to another edition.
Yes, I will say Ramadan Kareem to our viewers. I want to start by asking the Chief Imam. Last week, we told our viewers about what fasting is in Islam, and those that the fasting is prescribed for. We also looked at the conditions that a Muslim will be to engage in fasting. Today we want to look at those that are exempted from fasting. What are the things or conditions that can make a Muslim not to fast?
Bismillah minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala ashrafil mursalin Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallim. Once again, we thank Almighty Allah who has made it possible for us to be here, and we want to once again say Ramadan Kareem to all Muslims all over the world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our ibadah from us.
Amen.
Worship.
Amen.
Today is another episode for us to discuss about those who are exempted and things that can vitiate or fast. The Quran, Quran chapter 2, ayah number 183, 84, 85, explain in summary who are the people that are exempted from fast. The first category of persons that are exempted to fast are those whom are sick because of one ailment or the other. Either they are caught by sickness in the month of Ramadan, or perchance they have what we call maybe perpetual illness. They are suffering from acute ulcer and the like. It's just generally they are sick and the sickness cannot permit them to fast. The second category are those when the Quran says they are safar. Safar means those who are on a journey that takes them ordinarily away from their domain, and this journey has some impact, negative impact, maybe because of the disturbance or the hazard of traveling and the likes. So the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it possible for them that they can shift their fast if they could not fast. Then the pregnant women, those who are pregnant, and with the pregnancy it can harm the woman or the mother and also harm the child. So those are particular people that are exempted in that regard. Now coming down to the people who are very old, their age, because they are weak and because the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has explained that this fasting is a blessing, not a burden. So this category of person, they could not fast. So if they could not fast because of their weak, old age has caught up with them, they are exempted to fast, but they have to repay the fast of the days that they mentioned, they missed during the period of fast. Another one that is also similar is a woman who is in a monthly course in the sense that those periods in which she is not clean, so to say.
That a woman in menstruation
period.
So
we don't like to use the word menstruation. We say
so that
their monthly course.
Can be clear to our viewers.
So this category of persons, if Ramadan cuts them, or they are in the period in Ramadan and they come in contact with that, they are exempted from fast. But the general rule is that they are expected to bring forth the number of days in which they missed during the month of Ramadan. So that is the thing. Now we want to look at briefly how can a person correct his fasting. How can the person
I think let me leave that one for Alhaji Ahmed Isa, but I want you to conclude. You mentioned that a woman, a pregnant woman, after pregnancy there is delivery. What happens to a nursing mother? Can the nursing mother engage in fasting in Islam?
So we have said in Ayah Quran 84, 85, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that if the nursing mother can fast, cannot affect, it will not cause harm to her because she's feeding. Breastfeeding comes with a lot of, as we all know, challenges. We cannot call it hazard in this, but challenges. So if she can fast, it's better for her to fast. But if she cannot, she's exempted to fast, but she has to repay her fast. Inshallah, we'll come to
that later. Then the other group of people I want us to look at, what about those with mental disorder? Can they
the Quran has explained to us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has uplifted two things from his slaves. Number one, if a person sleep, if you are in a state of you sleep, you cannot be accountable for the actions for you. And if a person has a mental problem, the person is not only fasting in the month of Ramadan, every other ibadah, once the person cannot really understand is
every other
activities within that category of people are being exempted.
Thank you very much. Now, Alhaji Ahmed Isa, you've listened to the Chief Imam. I'm sure he will have continued, if not, the stuff is there. Alhaji,
thank you.
We've heard about the people who are exempted. With this exemption, what options are left for those exempted? Are they just to stay like that, and in following year, if the condition prevails, they will still be exempted? What are the options left for those who are exempted from fasting for the reasons stated by the Chief Imam?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي Our viewers welcome you and wish you the best in this Ramadan. Thank you very much for that question. And the Imam has rightly stated those that are exempted from the fasting in the month of Ramadan. However, each one has its own category and the way to replenish the fasting. For instance, the wayfarer, that's the traveler, who could not fast for being on the journey. After the Ramadan has passed, he is to pay back those number of days that he missed. And talking about the sick person, as soon as he gets well, he pays back as well. But when you go to certain categories, even the pregnant woman, when she delivers, she goes back. When we go to certain categories, like the very old, who are already in a huge and a high level of age, or the one that is perpetually sick as this chronic illness that
like stroke
or even the
protracted illness
that goes a long way. So their own categories are also different. Since he's not going to pay back, he's now supposed to feed people. He's supposed to provide food for a fasting Muslim person.
Or if you will just feed people in town.
You are supposed to feed the needy, the person that needs to be fed, especially the Muslims that are fasting.
Okay.
So you feed them for the period of days that you cannot fast. So those ones are for those categories. And it goes on and on and on to the stage that what if you don't even have the money to feed anybody? You don't have the money to feed, you are too weak to fast, and you are only on your own. So you make dua at the end of the day.
What's dua?
Now you make prayers. You pray, Allah knows your intentions very well. So those are the expiation for those that could not fast for whatever reason.
Well, you have mentioned the options left for a person who cannot fast. He doesn't have the health to fast. He doesn't have the money to fast. Is there any other actions like sadaqah that he can engage in that can now be in place of this fasting?
Yes, there are so many issues.
Acts of sadaqah.
Yes, there are.
Charity.
But he cannot have money to pay. So even the sadaqah, he does not have money to give sadaqah, to give charity. So we are looking at from the bottom, category. He can hardly feed himself. So he himself needs that charity. Exactly. So there's nothing for him to do. The least he could do is, pray, and God knows his heart. But if he has the means, the best option, the first option is for you to fast. Now you cannot fast because of those categories as mentioned by the Imam. Then you now feed people. You cannot feed people because you yourself need to be fed. Then of course you pray for people.
Inshallah. So in addition to what
you want to
said, there was an hadith during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A man came and he deliberately spoiled his fast.
Deliberately. I was to touch on that. Supposing somebody deliberately breaks his fast.
So
what
that
happens?
one will also, in line, it will also add to what the
Elijah
Ustaz have said. So in summary, he deliberately break the fast. He had sexual intercourse, which we have talked about it the last time. Now he was now brought to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Rasulullah, I am doomed. And what did you do? He mentioned what he did. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you have to fast for 60 consecutive days.
Allahu Akbar.
So the man said, Ya Rasulullah, I cannot, I am weak. Even the one that I'm fasting, I even deliberately missed it. Pray to Allah to forgive me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him again, go and do sadaqah, go and feed 60 persons, because this is now like a compensation for what he has missed. If it is a normal missing, I'm sick, I could not fast, I will only repay one day. But because this one is what we call kafara, you are doing like you are paying a penalty.
Paying back, yes.
So say go and feed 60 people. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I cannot feed 60 people. Where will I have money? Already I'm poor. So they brought some dates palm, baskets of dates palm to give to the ummah, which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam received. So as they were talking, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at it and said, okay, take this, go and feed the poor, go and feed the 60 persons. He exclaimed again, Ya Rasulullah, in the whole of Mecca or Medina at that time, I am among the most poorest person. The Prophet said, okay, go and eat it with your family.
Allah.
So Islam is not a difficult religion. Islam has not placed any burden on us. Ramadan fasting is not a burden, but rather a blessing to Islam.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Viewers, thank you for staying back. This is still your program, Islam in Focus. For any of our viewers who has observation or comments on the program, please, you can write to the producer, NTA, Channel 12, your dependable station, Uyo. Whatever comments, questions you have on this program or observation, you are welcome. Thank you very much. We want to touch on two concepts in Islam that are vital for the survival of Muslims. The first one is zakat in Islam, and the second one is sadaqah in Islam. What the two mean, you will hear from our scholars. We still have the Chief Imam, University of Uyo Muslim Community, Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Okeshina, and Alhaji Ahmed Isa, the Director of Media and International Relations, the Akwa Ibom State Muslim Council. Let me start from the Imam. In a nutshell, what does zakat mean in Islam?
So, once again, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, viewers, the word zakat simply means from the word zakat, which in Islam simply means purification. So zakat is the amount of money, a portion of our wealth from the Muslim that is being taken and given to the poor directly. Islam gives an obligation as part of the pillars of Islam, 5 pillars of Islam, as we mentioned earlier, which zakat is one of it. The Quran chapter 9, that is Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 6, emphasize and command the Muslim through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the obligation of zakat, that take from a portion of their wealth and give to the poor. So what is the portion of wealth that is being given to the world? 2.5% of what we call nisab. Nisab is a threshold of an amount of money, of wealth or asset that the person will have that will run for a full year.
That's 12 months.
12 months to run for a full year before that money can be, if I want to use the word zakatable, or we can say in our English term taxable. So that amount of money should get to that threshold. That's the first condition. The second condition is that the money must run for a full year after liabilities, expenses has been taken away from it. So it is that 2.5% that will now be removed and be given to the poor.
Okay, with what you have said, is it only money that can be used to observe this zakat? Do we have other commodities?
Yes. Supposing
the person does not have money.
Yes, farm produce, agricultural produce, investment in other, not only wealth. There are people that who are engaged in business, buying and selling. If at the end of the period that money grows to today, zakat nisab, the threshold is about 12 point something million. Let's say 12 million naira on our own local currency for that. So 2.5% of that amount, which is about 300,000 naira, that is what will be given at zakat in a year. So you see how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. 12 point something million, just a part 300,000 naira from that amount. So if a person has money and or wealth or asset, or as we say, business investment, and it is not up to 12 million in that regard, that threshold, that nisab, it is not obligatory as far as Islam is concerned for that person to give zakat, but there are other options.
Now, I want us to still break it down. Threshold, nisab, these are terminologies our viewers may not understand. It means money kept in the person's account for 12 years.
12 months.
Oh, sorry, 12 months.
Yes.
This money must be from the source that is rightful.
Yes.
I want us to touch that from halal.
Halal source, income from your lawful earnings, your lawful business, not from corrupt means, not from
ritual money,
not whatever, from your earnings, your halal earnings. Halal earnings from your livelihood, your
that is
livelihood
righteous.
that is righteous, not
haram, not unrighteous,
not of righteous,
undiluted.
Yes, not from any shady transaction or from kickbacks or from whatever fetish means. So that is the first condition. The second condition is that money should be automatically in the person's possession for 1 year, 12 calendar months. It is at that time, after the person has expended his expenses, removed his liabilities, he has fed his family, take care of his immediate needs, and then the person is now given the opportunity to
observe it. Okay, I will still come back to you. We have heard about zakat. What about sadaqah in Islam? What does it mean?
Thank you for that question. Briefly, before I say it, I just want to add something a little about the zakat. That zakat in Islam is given from the very rich to the poor. It's not given to another rich person or to an imam or to whoever that is on the high table. So it's directly for the poor. Coming back to sadaqah, there are so many similarities. Both are monies or charities you give out.
Alms
you give out from the very
not
rich,
firearms anyway.
Yes.
ALMS, hams
from the have to the have-nots. Now the difference is that the zakat, like the Imam rightly presented to all of us, is a kind of wealth you have that has stayed with you for a whole calendar year. But sadaqah, which is alms giving, is any amount you have, or you have the intention and you give it out as alms. You give it out at any time to anyone you want. So it's just an amount you have, and it has a lot, and I mean a lot of spiritual cleansing, a lot of benefits to you, which we can enumerate and will not exhaust them in this program alone. So Islam encourages us to be good to our neighbors, irrespective of their religion or their creed. We have to show compassion to them, and then we have to now be merciful to them, and we have to show love to them. He is not one of us. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that person whose neighbor goes hungry while he is full
and goes to bed to sleep. Yeah, thank you. For more clarification, is this only money that goes with sadaqah? What are the other activities a Muslim can engage that can be now termed as sadaqah in Islam?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, removing something harmful on the road,
like
stone or anything that can harm,
like broken bottle.
Yes, like anything that can harm your fellow human beings or even animals, is termed sadaqah. You have done something. It's charitable. Smiling at your friend or your neighbor or somebody you just meet on the road, you smile at him and he smiles. Smile is infectious. You just don't know how infectious it is. Somebody has come out from his household, he's feeling the pressure of economic pressure, and you just smile at him and you tell him, well, maybe salamu alaikum, and he smiles, and it reduces his stress. You have done an act of sadaqah to him. You see something that will harm your neighbor, it's sadaqah. You see any good virtue, But the most one we know that is very trendy is that you give alms. You know, the giver never lack. That's the English proverb. And that
gap between the rich and the poor is a spiritual, social responsibility. Affection, togetherness, goodwill, kindness, as my brother have said, this is the hallmark of zakat. It brings everybody together. And as we said, this is the month of Ramadan. Islam demonstrates zakat in its reality. Practically, you see a lot of sadaqah, a lot of given charity that is being displayed at this particular
teachings of Islam in its pristine form. May Almighty Allah continue to let us be there for us to give it to you. Thank you very much. Till next week. My name is Malam Maharuf Sani. Masalam.
الإسلام على خمسة أركان في الدين: صوم وصلاة وزكاة حج والشهادة.